Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Um, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 18. It's part one of the reunion. In this episode, we got to see all the couples meet up with Kevin and sort of have a conversation. And I have a lot of mixed feelings. I know at the start of the reunion they did sit down all the couples, and I appreciate couples expressing their opinions. One person I appreciate most is Steve, because Steve has always been even tempered. Him and Michael, even when things were bad, they never sort of seemed to sort of lose their cool or sort of become very aggressive or whatever. Well, from what we saw on camera. And I like the fact that Steve mentioned that prior to them going on the honeymoon, he told his wife, Noi, that be mindful of what you tell Lindsay. And Lindsay, in her own way, tried to be very defensive to say, oh, we're on camera. And I think this is one of Lindsay's faults, which I think she hasn't learned about, that she doesn't take personal responsibility. I like the fact that they all sat down and they all tried to sort of bring up a couple of issues in regards Alicia and how she treated Steve and all the other couples and how they got along. Anyway, I'll review the couples as I normally do in the order that they came out. So they started off with Olajuwon and Katina. I've always said this right from the start that Olujon and Katina are a very confusing couple for me. I don't quite understand them. I know they've chosen to stay married. I know they've passed reunion. They're still married. I know that Olujon gave Katina a ring. But for me, I think one thing that seeing himself on camera has done is he's showed Olujon his weaknesses, and he sort of tried to sort of brush them away and say, "Oh, you'd rather a man show you who they are." Yeah, there is a way of showing someone who you are without being rude or disrespectful. There's a way of expressing your opinion without demeaning someone, without degrading someone, without making someone feel more or less like crap, which is what he's done. And I don't believe I fully heard him sort of apologize, in my opinion. I think he should have given his wife a more heartfelt apology. And I think Katina, for herself, should have spoken up for herself a bit more. I know they're trying to make their marriage work, but in order for their marriage to work, they have to overcome some of these things in order for them to grow as a couple and be able to maneuver through life as a marriage unit. So for me, I'm still on the fence. I don't know. Something was always off with them all season, and I really can't sort of pinpoint it to say what it is, but something was off right from the start. And even as their relationship has progressed and they've decided to stay married, I personally don't see the growth. I know Olujohn said, oh, he's grown as a man, he's learned to, if his wife can't, he doesn't feel like cooking, he'll take her out. And it's like, that should not be the goal, though. The goal should be if your wife can't cook, then you get in the kitchen and make something. Don't order out, don't take her out to eat. Take her out to eat because you want to, not because she said she can't cook and she's not feeling well that day. But then, anyway, I digress. And from there, we saw Alicia and Chris. Alicia is another person who I think I hate saying bad things about these people because I don't know them personally, but I think Alicia is another person who's quite delusional in a sense, in this sense that Katina, sorry, not Katina, Alicia, Olujuan, and Lindsay suffer from the same bug, which is they lack the ability to self-reflect, they lack the ability to take personal responsibility, they lack the self-awareness to know when they're wrong and do things that are genuine to show their growth. So Alicia tried to excuse her behavior by saying, "Oh, I came in this for the right reasons. The experts did this to me and that." I was like, if you came in for the right reason, you should have taken time to know this man. You should have taken time to understand what the experts saw in the two of you to match you. You should have agreed. Apparently, she was offered an opportunity to speak to the experts and she refused. She should have spoken to the experts and told them what she felt and how she felt and heard their opinion. But she was so set in her ways in the fact that as soon as she saw Chris, she didn't like him, and that was it. And I like the fact that I think Chris has shown a different kind of spouse that you need on Married at First Sight. Someone who's not who is self-aware and is willing to protect themselves from anything that might sort of derail either their mental health, their safety, their well-being, you name it. Because he's always been able to speak up for himself, and he's always sort of protected himself in a way that even today he wasn't putting up with any of Alicia's crap in the reunion. He told her as it is, and gave his opinion of the fact, and said he's moving on. And he said, actually, had I known all the things you're saying, I would have divorced you sooner rather than later. Which to me shows that someone knows their worth, is self aware, is um, has a lot of self love enough to remove themselves from toxic situations. And looking at Chris and looking at past spouses like Paige and how they stayed in toxic relationships when they could have moved on shows you that just because you want to be married doesn't mean you should subject yourself to abuse. But I don't know. Anyway, Alicia, I think, is there on a sort of self-image rehab campaign, and she's doing a terrible job at it, and I don't see anything changing. And from there, we went to my favorite couple this season who have really disappointed me. I'm really disappointed because of Jasmina and Michael. For me, Jasmina and Michael are the couple this season that had um, the largest projection or progression, sort of, because if you look at where their relationship started, on day one, you could tell Michael was happy with the bride he was matched with, he was attracted to her, and then things from there just went downhill. I think Jasmina wasn't impressed. Maybe it's because of his height or whatever. I don't know what it is. She said they did the exercise that Dr. Viviana gave them, and that's how she changed her opinion of him. And she started, to fight, to like him and stuff. But I think Jasmina said agreed to the divorce because Michael asked for it. But I think she was warming up to Michael. She wasn't starting to fall in love with Michael because her body language, the way she sat next to him, even Kevin questioned that. Why are people sitting so close if you're getting a divorce? Why are you so friendly and so, united in your communication and stuff? And so for me, I think I read someone said Michael must have said yes on decision day just because Jasmina said yes. And it sort of seems that way in the sense that you can tell Michael has moved on. I know he's very respectful in the sense that when he was asked if he was dating or he was interested in someone, he wouldn't come out and say, I think, just because he was trying to protect Jasmina's feelings or whatever. Um, I think Jasmina overvalues herself, and I think going to that I don't know what you call them, those mediums sort of did a disservice in the sense that because that medium told her, oh, you'll be remarried in 2 years if the two of you don't work, but the two of you are going to regret if you decide to divorce. I think that had a part to play in the sense that she thought, oh well, in 2 years I'll be married to somebody else. And I think both of them are going to regret their decision to say no to one another because they sadly have joined the ranks of Will, and I think the other lady was Jasmine from seasons ago, and Iris and Keith, where you can see that this couple have the potential of becoming a very strong, united couple, but for various reasons, one of them chooses not to go there. Anyway, we move on. I'm very disappointed. I think they had the highest, their incline was something you could look at and say, oh, this is where they started and this is where they sort of stalled, and then they were able to maneuver this way and they progressed. But sadly, they couldn't make it work, so which is really sad. And from there, we go to Mark and Lindsay. Mark and Lindsay, for me, it's sad with Mark and Lindsay in the sense that Lindsay is an HCP, and in the profession that she's in, you're taught about self-awareness in the sense that know your limits and be able to ask for help, be able to use reflective practice to reflect on whatever you're doing or whatever's around you. That way you can improve and become a better person. And I'm surprised she hasn't used that in her personal life to see how she comes across, how demeaning she comes across, and how rude and disrespectful she is when she speaks to someone. Because She wrote this letter to sort of to Mark to sort of count every single thing that she did for him and how he should be appreciative because she did all this for him. And it's like, that's not necessary. When you do something good, you should not do something good to be acknowledged. You should do something good because you doing it genuinely and it's coming from the bottom of your heart and not because someone is paying you to do it or is asking you to say anything. And she's talking about the Lindsay effect. And it's like, at some point, you have to say, yes, you might not have physically done anything for me, but you have helped me see my worth, see the areas I need to work on, see the areas on which I am good at and I need to build on. But it seems she hasn't. And the way she was insulting towards Mark, oh, I found intelligent people and I've never been the most intelligent person and blah. And it's just like Lindsay needs counseling before she can date anyone and have a successful relationship. I'm sorry to say, whoever she's dating, and oh, I need a man who's able to stand up to me. And it's like, no, that's what your parents are there for. Your husband is not meant to stand up to you. You're supposed to be equal partners that are supposed to work together to build and develop your relationship, not for him to be telling you, oh, that's enough. That's what you do to a child, not to an adult. And so, I don't know. I don't know. I digress. Anyway, it was a frustrating reunion. There is a part two. We'll see what comes up next week. Anyway, guys. Oh, and season 15 apparently starts on the 16th of July, so that's something to look forward to. Um. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.